Check. All right. Nice. Oop. Bang. Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Okay, let's go. Everything is almost back to normal, I think. Okay, we don't need that for now. We will work on that later. Okay, will this come back to me though? Aw, sad. Okay, what is this? There's honestly a couple of things in mind. So interesting. I have no idea why. Everything seems freak. Hate that I got that. This is weird. People can totally see it. You want to I mean, there's no one here, but yay. Little things in life that tell you. Thank you. Alright, now let's see how this works. That is very true. It's good that you weren't naked. Okay, where is... Oh, it's not even here. Okay, let's add this source. The beta one. Where did she go? Yeah, there we go. Okay, then I shove this down. Nice. Perfecto. All right, let's try this out. Oh, shit. Let this lapse. Okay, we're good. We did it. We did it. We did it. All right, now where's my pen? All right, the test stream is live. We got this. All right. What's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell, and welcome back to the stream, baby. Today's going to be a short one. I only have an hour today, but I really want to get back into the stream before things get crazy in life, so hopefully have some fun. Today, we're going back down to Reading with Ryan, and we're going to cover mindfulness in gaming, or a part of mindfulness in gaming. We read the first half last week, and so we're going to read the second half of it today, and hopefully we have some cool conversation and figure out how mindfulness can help you in your game. If you got any questions, as always, this stream is for y'all, so come ask all the questions, bruh. Okay, come on. Come on. Wanna come up? Hurry up. Hurry up. Alright. Dobby's in his position. We are ready to go. Okay, so today we're finishing this article entitled Gaming Executive Functioning and Mindfulness, a Comparative Exploratory Study Between League of Legends Gamers and Non-Gamers. Alright, for some reason I feel like this thing is huge. I feel like it's huge, but he can run. Why is he so big? We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. Oh, there you go. That looks better. Okay. That looks better. Alright, so we have gone down to the results, meow. Basically, they took a survey. Alright, the results. This is what you guys came for. How can we practically use this in IRL? Alright, relationships between prefrontal symptomatology and mindfulness in League of Legends gamers and non-gamers. Table 3 presents the results of the correlated analysis differentiating between gamers and non-gamers. Statistically significant negative relationships were observed between problems of social control and aware actions in the gamers group, while in the case of non-gamers, these significant negative relationships with problems of social control were found with non-judgmental variable. So I'm guessing when they say that, it's like when one goes up and the other goes down. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, problems of emotional control had a significant negative correlation in both gamers and non-gamers, with aware actions, non-judgmental inner experience, non-reactivity, and total mindfulness. Where the coefficient values in all these were slightly higher in the table, in the gamers group. Additionally, in the gamers group, problems of emotional control correlated significantly and negatively with a description variable. On the other hand, problems of executive control and prefrontal symptomatology were found to have a statistical significant negative relationship with the variables of description, awareness, actions, non-judgmental inner experience, non-reactivity, and total mindfulness in both groups, with stronger correlations in League of Legends gamers. Okay, I just want to go maybe to the conclusion. Alright. Taking into account previous studies that support the positive personal effects of video games or esports, this study proposed to analyze the relationship between prefrontal symptomatology and dispositional mindfulness and test whether a group with experience in League of Legends would obtain significantly higher measures in the application of mindfulness in their daily lives, as well as fewer problems associated with prefrontal symptomatology when compared to a group of non-gamers. We mentioned previously that League of Legends is a video game that requires the use of many cognitive abilities, such as executive functions, and this led us to theorize possible interference among these functions, and the extrapolation of mindfulness into daily life away from the video game. In other words, for a gamer to be able to experience states of absolute concentration where they make use of other skills and abilities while acting within the video game seems a priori to imply basic components that are fundamental to mindfulness in the here and now. Okay, so, oh shit, why is this frozen? And this is why we do it. And this is why we have the test stream. Wait, why is she no scale? Why is she no scale? Hello? Oh, this is so AIDS. But this is why we're playing. This is why we're trying. Yes, okay. But does it scroll now? Okay, thank God. Okay. So little things in life, I swear to God. Swear to God. Alright, so basically... Yo, what's poppin', Jeebus? We're figuring this out. Hey, and you're on the YouTubes. Let me know how this goes. I think that I like this. What's really interesting about this is they're saying, okay, if gamers can be mindful and like fully present in their game, does that also mean that it translates to being fully present IRL? I like that. Because I think that's what people don't realize is that like games are a direct practice of presence. And if you can be present in the game, why couldn't you be present in life? I mean, mindfulness, if you think about it, is a practice, and there's many ways to practice mindfulness. And I mean, for example, you can practice mindfulness like practicing the focusing on the breathing and letting stuff go. That's a direct practice of mindfulness. At the same time, if you are practicing mindfulness in a video game, then basically you're just using the video game as your breath, per se, to refocus your attention on the thing that you're doing. The only difference is there's a lot more things going on in the video game versus just like sitting down and breathing. Okay. The obtained results, however, have reflected tendencies contrary to this initial expectation. League of Legends gamers reported greater problems of emotional control, executive control, and prefrontal symptomatology in comparison to non-gamers. In both cases, these problems demonstrate a negative association with mindfulness. You know what? As a League of Legends enjoyer myself, I wonder if that's League of Legends and not mindfulness, you know? Because the practice of League of Legends is definitely a tilter. But what I'm thinking about is like, maybe there's this reason or the result of this is because there's so much going on in the video game, it's really hard to figure out what to pay attention to or how to be super mindful in everything because there's so much going on. Versus if you're just going to breathe and focus on smaller, more specific things, there's more control in that experiment versus what goes on in a video game. That's what I'm thinking. Ooh, this tea is on fire right now. Holy shit. And there goes my taste buds. Whew. Whew. Okay. The relationships were weaker in the case of non-gamers, which indicated better levels of mindfulness in this group. However, in both cases, we concluded that a better ability to consciously focus attention without making judgments, accepting reality, and allowing emotions to allowing emotions and feelings to flow without entering into ruminative states is also associated with fewer emotional and executive problems, in which case this would confirm that an executive dysfunction may limit or interfere with the capacities or abilities of curiosity, openness, and acceptance of reality. Dang. Okay. I like that. Let me highlight this. Concluded a better ability to consciously focus attention. I think this is the key. Without making judgments, accepting reality, and allowing emotions and feelings to flow without entering into ruminative states is associated with fewer emotional and executive problems, in which case this could confirm that an executive dysfunction may limit or interfere with the capabilities, with the capacities or abilities of curiosity, openness, and acceptance of reality. I think this is key because basically what they're saying is gaming is a practice of presence without judgment. This is key. Without judgment. Where is it? Without, that's a crayon. Right here. I think this is key. Without judgment. Because I think the most interesting thing about gamers is, like, we do that all the time. We judge things as good as, this play was good or bad. This thing was good or bad. This person did this thing to me and it was good or bad. Oh my god. Is this... Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to buy this thing later. Hopefully this doesn't kick me out. Alright. But anyway, I'm trying this whole new thing out. They don't have the app like I wanted, and it's gone now, so I have to buy another one. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I think that's it. I think what makes gamers probably really good at their game is that they're able to make judgments really quickly and how those judgments affect their game to the future. At the same time, I think where gamers fall apart is when the judgments they make are too rigid, black and white, and then they get stuck, which causes them to enter into ruminative states. Ruminative states are basically like you're thinking about that bad thing over and over and over and over and over again, you get stuck. So if you make that judgment and like, man, that thing was really bad, and you get stuck there, and you just keep thinking about how bad it was, not so great. But I really like what they said here. To prevent that, you have to accept reality and allow emotions and feelings to flow without getting stuck there. So it's almost as if like you're having the experience of the emotion. Yeah, you're experiencing that emotion, but you don't get bogged down by that feeling or that judgment. By doing so, you're able to have fewer emotional and executive functions. Why? Because you're able to let them go and then be here in the present moment to access curiosity and openness. What I think about that is like, okay, instead of getting stuck in the judgments, instead you have to be curious about, okay, this sucks right now. How can I, curiosity, move my game forward? What is it going to take to get closer to my win condition? How can I bridge that gap? How long might it take? What can I do to have more control? I think if you can get there, that's definitely going to help you more because you're not going to ruminate, you're opening yourself up, and you can move your game forward. And that all comes with this piece, the acceptance of reality. And what I mean by that isn't like, okay, this sucks, it's going to be forever this way. No. It's more like shorter pieces of reality of like, it sucks right meow. And if I stay here, it's going to continue to suck. But if I do the other things, if I do the other things from this point of suckiness, how can I improve it? But that comes from the acceptance of where you are right now. Because if you get stuck in the, well, I wish I was someplace else, or dang, well, I wish I've had these other resources, my situation would be different. Now you're playing in different realities that don't exist. For example, if you play in the shoulda, coulda, woulda reality, the past, we can't really change that thing. It already happened. And if I get stuck in the oh no's, what ifs, the future reality, then that reality technically doesn't exist too, because I need to do things right here and now to make that reality exist. So instead, it's being present and being open. Yes, Magic. The only thing we have is the now. Absolutely. So I think that's what we're talking about is like, how can we stay grounded into where we are right now, accepting that it sucks or I don't like it, and maybe lessening that judgment of yourself or the state, so I can access curiosity and openness to get somewhere else that I want to be. I had to learn that the hard way, 100%? Yeah, dude, we all do. Absolutely. I think acceptance is one of the hardest pieces, or one of the hardest things to do, and I think people often think of acceptance as like, I have to accept this as it is forever. And it's not. It's just for now. It's just for now. And maybe a little bit of time. But it's not forever. But if I get stuck in the making of judgments, then maybe that reality is going to be here for a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But yeah, bro. Welcome to the stream, Magic. Hope you're doing well, bro. All right. In this line of thinking, previous results that demonstrate executive function... Oh, sorry. In this line of thinking, previous results that demonstrate executive involvement through emotional and behavioral control are corroborated or consolidated, as well as its inverse relationship to mindfulness. Yeah, so I guess the inverse was, as judgment goes up, mindfulness goes down. As, I think that's it, right? As rumination goes up, mindfulness goes down, right? Because, I mean, if you're not here in the now, it takes away from the moment. All right. But I guess the other way, it would be positive correlated, right? Like, once curiosity goes up, mindfulness will also go up. Once openness goes up, mindfulness also goes up. Once you're able to accept the reality of where you are, mindfulness also goes up. Okay. In response to the second objective, significant differences between the League of Legends gamers and non-gamers have been verified in the aspects of non-judgment, of not judging one's personal experiences, evaluating one's emotions and feelings externally, and in mindfulness, where these abilities are greater in non-gamers. Yo, what's good, gang? What's good? Yeah, okay. I think it's really funny, because I wonder, as compared to non-gamers, I wonder if League of Legends players, and maybe this is why they're more miserable, maybe they tend to judge their experience more, or what's happening to them more, and because they're judging, maybe that makes them more salty, and maybe they also then apply that same judgingness to their life, or whatever, which makes them more unhappy, versus, I mean, maybe if you're learning mindfulness in an open area without people, or a game, or people trying to shit on you in chat, it's easier to be more present, maybe? Aversion to teammates, lol. I mean, yeah, for sure. That's what I'm thinking, dog. Let's highlight that, okay? Not judging one's personal experiences, evaluating one's emotions and feelings externally, and in mindfulness. Non-gamers are better at it. Okay. This would contradict a part of the argument presented initially regarding the benefits of the game, although, on the other hand, it would speak highly of the attention skills or mindfulness exercise during the game. I mean, I think another piece of mindfulness and presence is definitely like, what are you trying to be mindful of? Because, I mean, I wonder from a different perspective, right? Are you just being very mindful of the negative judgments that you're having, and that's what you're focusing on, and that's what's taking up your attention? Versus, are you being more mindful about what you could be doing, or how you could be improving, or what's your next steps? So I'm not sure if this is just a general mindfulness, but I wonder if we can make it more specific to what you are more mindful about. The gamers were worse mediators? Yes, they were worse than non-gamers. Then, yeah, so they're worse at being mindful. And this is, for this article, when they say mindful, they're just talking about their ability to focus and be present at the thing that they're doing. Not like the actual like practice of mindfulness, but just their ability to be focused and present at the thing at hand. All right. These same differences between the two groups have been found in regard to problems of emotional control. Emotional control. Oh, that's a crayon. Emotional control, executive control, and prefrontal symptomatology, thus confirming results from previous studies that indicate certain problems in the use and frequency of gaming, and that have even associated pathologies and addictions to these technologies. Whoa! Okay, I can see why they're saying that. I can see why they're saying that. I think, though, this may be a more simplistic conclusion. And what I mean by that is I think the thing that you really need to, we need to consider is the purpose of why people are playing. Because I think purpose of playing dictates mindfulness and attention of what is happening, and then dictates emotional control, executive function control, and prefrontal symptomatology. So, for example, if your purpose is to, like, I don't know, win and climb, maybe that's going to shift your attention to what is preventing you from doing so. Thus, it's harder for you to have emotional control, versus if your purpose is to improve something that is more in your control, maybe that's going to dictate how you feel about your improvement, or what's happening in front of you, because you're no longer focused on the negative bad things, but just maybe more on yourself and what you are doing. So I think this comes down to, I mean, I think maybe I'd write it like this. Purpose is greater, or maybe purpose, I don't know how you say dictates. Maybe purpose equals presence, because you really need to dictate what you're doing to be present in it. You know what I mean? I heard a meditation teacher say even something like chess is too dynamic a concentration object to reach meditative joy. Ooh, I like that. I mean, what it's making me think of is, like, you know that movie, The Last Samurai, that documentary based on a true story? It makes me think of that scene when he's, like, fighting and he's learning how to use the sword, right, in the Japanese village. And then he's getting his ass kicked. And then the Japanese guy goes, too many minds. Mind on sword, mind on enemy, mind on audience. Too many mind. You know, like, I think that's also a problem in gaming, because especially with chess or whatever, your mind is split on so many different things. Versus if you're actually able to practice mindfulness, right? It's that meditative process of just sitting with yourself. You're limiting the minds that you're focused on. It's just your breath. It's just whatever comes in your head. So if we can break it down to smaller pieces, less dynamic pieces to practice mindfulness and practice being present, I think once we're able to drill it down to that, then maybe we can apply it to something more complicated like gaming. I think intentionally in League, everything is grabbing your visual, I think intentionally in League, everything is grabbing your attention versus training the direct ability. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. Because, I mean, there's so much. You have to focus on CSing. You have to focus on the mini-map. You have to focus on where the jungler is. You got to focus on how they're flaming you. You got to focus on the timers of dragons. Like, there are so many things to split your attention to, absolutely, that it's really hard to be fully present. So I think even if we could stepwise that, or maybe if we were break it down in the game, is there something this game you really want to focus on? Because another thing I'm really thinking about is, like, okay, you know when you first start playing League, and, like, you always get ganked by the jungler. You know, maybe you're playing mid or maybe you're playing AD, and you're, like, extending a little too far because all you're really tunneled on is, like, CSing. So you're not really tracking the mini-map, or you're not really tracking the jungler, you're not really tracking objectives, because all you're really trying to focus on is CSing. And I think the real-life application to that is, like, okay, I don't know if you ever played, like, basketball or played, like, pee-wee basketball or whatever, but if you ever watch them play basketball or watch little kids play basketball, you'll always see their coach like, look up, look up, look up, when they're, like, trying to bounce the ball and dribble and stuff, right? Because they're just so focused on, like, bouncing the ball to make sure they don't kick the ball or, like, get it stolen or whatever. They don't lose control of the ball, right? But, so why do they do that? Well, they have to look at the ball because, like, they don't have the feeling of where it's going to be in space. But eventually, once you practice dribbling more and become more efficient at dribbling, you can look up, you can bounce the ball and feel, if I go behind the back, it should be here. Go between the legs, it should be here. And so you don't have to look at the ball as, like, you maneuver around space. Now you can look up to see pass, to shoot, whatever, and you don't have to focus on the ball. But that's kind of the same thing with League or any other game. Like, once you're able to get a feel for the game, you don't have to just hyper-focus on your character. Now you can use F keys. Now you can look at the minimap. Now you can kind of track the jungler, because you've mastered that, quote-unquote mastered, or got used to that feeling of what it's like to CS, or the feeling of the game where you can look up. So that just comes with more time and experience. But after that, you can shift where you want to be mindful into higher order level things. But first, you must be mindful in what that simple first task is. So yeah, I think because there's so many things in gaming for you to pay attention to, if you're able to be mindful in one thing and become more experienced, or your expertise grows in that way, okay, now we can build off that mindfulness to include other things to be mindful of. But yeah, off the clip, there's just so much to be mindful of in the game. Absolutely. Okay, thus confirming results from previous studies that indicate certain problems in the use and frequency of gaming. Yeah, there's just too much. Okay. When the effect of prefrontal symptomatology is eliminated, the game has proven to have no significant effect on dispositional mindfulness, so these results would reinforce the influence of possible defects of executive functioning in the mindfulness of gamers and non-gamers. I really wonder how, like, this word. I wonder how they define that. We'll go back. Okay. Consequently, problematic use of gaming may be associated with executive defects where the prefrontal cortex is a determining factor, and with the appearance of maladaptive behaviors and loss of behavioral control. Okay, what I mean by this, or what I think they mean by this, problematic use of gaming, again, for me and my perspective as a clinical psych or psychologist, I think that the problematic use of gaming, sure, we're looking at the behavior, but more specifically, when we look at problematic use of gaming, we have to look at the function of the behavior, which goes back again to the purpose. Like, what are they using games for? Are they using games to escape? Are they using games to fill time? Are they using games for some other reason? I mean, build up their self-esteem. I don't know. But really, when it comes to problematic use of gaming, the definition, I think, should include the purpose of why someone is gaming. Because someone, I mean, now we're coming to the difference between, like, okay, if Kobe Bryant was playing basketball, rest in peace, obsessively, in the gym all the time, would you say he's addicted to basketball? Or would you say, wow, he's really passionate about training? Because he's same thing. He's thinking about it all the time. Maybe he's talking about it all the time. Maybe he's playing basketball instead of doing other things that he knows that he should be doing because he's really into it and he's trying to hone his craft. Versus he's playing basketball all the time because he doesn't want to be home with his family, or he doesn't want to, face the realities of life. Okay, that's a different type of basketball playing, right? But I think it's just different and weirder to apply that same type of logic to gaming. But really, it's just the purpose that dictates, from my perspective, the quote-unquote problematic use of gaming. So again, as a psychologist, it's not the behavior, but it's the function of the behavior and how it's affecting the individual. Okay. We must note, however, that whenever a brain dysfunction is the cause or the consequence of problematic use cannot be asserted, even though there's a link to this behavior defect. In this regard, it is especially important to distinguish between professional gamers and gamers with problematic use. It's like I called it. It's like I called it. The latter may really show an addictive behavioral tendency and present certain psychological vulnerabilities. Fair. And I mean, let's be real. If you have bye Dobby. If you have ADHD or something, you already have an impulse control challenge. May that be behavioral, may that be structural. I mean, I would have to make sure that you're able to understand what and when you're doing it, so we can use different skills to better help you regulate yourself or know your triggers so you can do something else. All right. In this regard, it is especially important to distinguish between the latter may really show an addictive behavioral tendency and present certain psychological vulnerability. Consequently, we must not neglect the optimistic stance that considers the positive cognitive and executive impact attributed to non-problematic gaming. Absolutely. Comes back down to form and function. The function of the behavior. All right. Okay, that's good to know. Even if you don't follow, I mean, even if you're on the YouTubes, you still got a little guy running around because I see Jeeves. All right. Finally, the predictive ability of emotional control and executive control problems on the level of dispositional mindfulness has been demonstrated. This holds true in both gamers group and the non-gamers group, even though the differences are less significant in the non-gamers. We therefore confirm results of previous research that points to higher levels of dispositional mindfulness when no prefrontal symptomatology problems associated with executive function are detected, or they were less prevalent, and how this implies better personal health and well-being. Fair, I guess. Okay. Based on this, we must keep in mind that there is influence from mindfulness with its conscious awareness on certain problems that involve a loss of control, sometimes attributed to excessive or inappropriate use of internet or video games. Yeah, this again highlights the purpose to me. Because if you are using games for a certain reason to escape, for example, I think the whole purpose of that use of the game is to not be present. Or if you're, I mean, another thing that I'm thinking about is autopilot. Like, if you're autopiloting and you're trying to play or train or climb, then you're not being very mindful anyway. And then are you actually doing the thing that you want to do versus you're just playing the game now? So, really, I think a big issue with gamers in general is they lose the plot. Or they get tilted and they lose the plot. I think it's always important to remember what you're doing and why you're doing it. For example, if the goal is to climb, okay, that can be your goal, but then it comes down to, okay, how do you want to climb? What is the structure in which you want to climb? Because if not, you're just saying, I want to climb, and then the way that I'm going to do is play a bunch of games. But if I just play a bunch of games, and you haven't broken down what you want to do in each game to actually do the climbing, and then what do? I just play a bunch of games. And then I lose mindfulness, and then I don't do the goal of climbing. So really, it comes back down to purpose, which controls your mindfulness and the experience that you're having. All right. These disturbances may be due to emotional behavioral errors that provoke executive function. These disturbances may be due to emotional and behavioral errors that provoke executive function or cognitive impairment. Basically, you get distracted. If you lose it, you get distracted. They just say emotional behavioral errors. In short, we conclude that League of Legends is a video game that requires the use of many cognitive abilities, an example to which the high demand places on the gamer's executive functions. According to results obtained in this study, this demand seems to interfere with the capacity for mindfulness away from the screen, giving way to the possibility of gamers experiences executive problems. Interesting. Okay, the thing that I'm thinking about now, though, is it like because they are tired? Because they've used their cognitive resources to try to be present in the game? Does that mean that they're just fatigued to be present IRL? Maybe. Because presence also is very cognitively taxing. It's a very cognitively taxing, like, activity. So I wonder if that's a piece of it too. Therefore, these results reinforce the importance of one's mental state and mindfulness in daily activities, which may include video games or esports. Executive functioning is crucial in all of these as it is involved in decision making and problem solving, as well as in proper emotional and behavioral regulation. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, I'm even thinking about like how mindful you are when you scroll on like Reels, TikTok, Shorts, or whatever. Like, are you actually being mindful right now. Like, oh, I'm looking for hee hee ha ha's and like I am being very present in me scrolling, or is it just mindless? Because I feel like that's the same thing too, where in other ways of your life, how present or here mindful are you of what you're doing, what you're thinking of, what you're looking for, or are you just doing it? I mean, I think that's the general question. Because, I mean, I feel like that's also... I've also seen the same thing in, like, school. When people say, like, oh, I'm going to school. I need to get this degree. Okay, why are you getting this degree? What are you going to do with it afterwards? I don't know. Okay, like, that whole thing, we missed it. We missed the presence. We missed the mindfulness of being in school, learning, because we haven't narrowed down the purpose of why you're getting this education or why you're getting this degree. Because I was told I need to go to school. Everyone goes to college because I thought I want to be a doctor. I don't know. But that's where I'm kind of also thinking about just presence in general and how present people are in life, and then how that affects their executive problems or mental states. Okay, this study is not free from limitations, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Skip that part right here. As a final conclusion, we must underscore the utility of video games in bringing out different skills and opportunities, some of which can undoubtedly be used, and training in responsible practice. Effective use of gaming can result in healthy personal development, taking into view cognitive diversity. Okay, sure. All right. Now that we're here, dude, I think this is... Can I copy this? I kind of want to copy this. I wonder if I can. Let's try see if I can like copy and paste. Okay. Oh my god. This would be next level. Holy shit balls. I didn't know I could do that, dude. This program is so freaking OP. Okay. So, if that's true, then this is what I would say. This would be my rant. Okay, I think Ryan's reflections, nice little ring to it. I would say, from this article, Gaming Executive Function and Mindfulness, a competitive exploratory study between League of Legends gamers and non-gamers. I think, number one, my takeaways. Oh, why is this interesting? It's just on YouTube? Crazy. All right. Number one, from this article, I think it would be did I spell presence right? Let's make sure. I hope I spelled it right. P-R-E-S. Okay. Presence. Oh, this is C. Yeah. Okay. Sick. All right. So what I mean by purpose dictates presence is if you don't know what you're trying to be present in, it's really hard to be present in it. So, for example, if you want to say, I want to be present and mindful in my game, okay, what do you want to be present and mindful of? All right, well, the purpose of why I'm playing this game is I want to win. Okay, if that's the purpose, now break that down smaller. How do you want to win? What does winning mean? What is the process in which you want to win? What are the specific skills that you want to do so you can win? So, once you identify those things, all right, now I can be directly present in attempting to do those things. But without the purpose and the definition of what you want to be present and mindful of, how can you do it? I think if you do not define the purpose, then it allows you, or sorry, it puts you in more danger of going on autopilot because you're now just playing or whatever because you've lost the plot. So that's number one. I think a second thing is, what do I want to say? Oh my god, I can't even spell today. Okay. Pisces. Alright. Number two, I would say if you really want to practice presence, you need to practice presence in smaller pieces. And what I mean by that is, it's really challenging to practice presence and mindfulness in a game because there's so many things to be present of. For example, in League of Legends, you're being present and mindful of creeps and CSing, your lane partner or your teammates, the jungler, the enemy jungler, the objective timers, the mini map, the next objective. All these things you need to be present and mindful of. So, if you really want to practice presence, though, you can't be present of everything, which kind of reminds me of attention and how attention is not omnipotent. It is really just selective pieces that you have to move, like selective pieces that you can attend to, not everything. So, if you really want to practice mindfulness or presence, what pieces do you want to be mindful of or present of? And like we talked about basketball and learning how to dribble, it might be a stepwise fashion of smaller pieces than building into bigger pieces. So for example, maybe if I can't pay attention to everything, I need to really break down and be mindful of CSing. But once I'm able to CS more efficiently, or once I'm able to manage a wave more effectively, okay, now I can look around the map. Okay, now I can look at the mini map. Okay, now I can think about the jungler. But that's just because I've mastered or got more comfortable with the smaller piece of CSing. Just like that basketball example. And what was I going to think? Is there a third one? Is there a third one? There must be a third one. Let's think together. Honestly, those are my two biggest ones, dude. I'm really trying to think if there's a third one. I'm trying to make a three. I think that's it, dude. I think those are the two biggest things for me. Because, like... I was gonna write League of Legends is bad for mental health, but that's not it at all. I just think it's really funny that they said, like, oh yeah, gamers have higher levels of, like, dysfunction or executive dysfunction, emotional regulation than non-gamers. And I just think that's funny because, dude, the things that gamers have to deal with in their game is so much different than in real life. Because, I mean, think of, like, if you used... May have to write that. Gaming is bad for your mental health. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, like, okay, think of if you used... Maybe it's like, gamer logic. Maybe the third conclusion is... That's what I'll say. I'll say number three, gamer logic is not real world logic. And the reason I say this is, okay, have you ever tried to think of, like, all right, if people acted at their job, in their, like, traditional sports team, in their relationships, like, if they actually acted like how they do in solo queue in any of these areas, it's, like, totally ass backwards. Okay, think of it with me. All right, so say, like, you are doing, like, you're on a team, like, basketball team, and your friend misses the game-winning shot, or whatever, or your teammate missed the game-winning shot. Do you just go to your teammate and be like, dude, you're fucking dog shit. I can't believe you griefed that for us. You're so fucking bad. Like, I can't believe that you got the ball and just missed. Like, oh my god. And just flame them super hard. Like, just ruthlessly flame them. Okay, how would that work? Or like say you're in a group project and someone doesn't do their part and you just ruthlessly flame them, call them personal negative attacks, like just say the heinous things to them. Okay, would that work? No, it wouldn't. Because oftentimes if someone even misses the game winning shot, sure, they're sad, but everyone knows at that team that it was like a team sport, right? Or like when someone scores a goal on the goalie in soccer or like football, excuse me, like the goalie is yelling at everybody. Why? Because like it had to go through all those people to get through them to like get scored on, right? And everyone knows in like football that that's a team thing versus everyone flame the goalie. It's crazy. But in solo queue, that's exactly what we do. Like someone makes a mistake, and instead of like trying to build this person up or like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, you get the next one, they just flame the shit out of somebody. So I can totally understand why this thing is, why maybe this article is saying that like the mental health or emotion regulation, impulse control or whatever is worse for gamers than non-gamers, because listen, the environment that games create is totally different than IRL living. And maybe it's just the environment because it's more anonymous, but there's just a stark difference in the way that gamer logic works in games versus the real world, and it's not the same. It's not the same. Nor should it be the same. I feel like gamer logic sometimes is super toxic, and so maybe if gamers got out of their game and like maybe experience the real world for a little bit, or how it works, or how people are just kinder and nicer and more gentler in general in the real world when they make mistakes, maybe we could apply that to real life. That's what I'm thinking. Or at least that's what I'm hoping, So I think those were the 3 things that I would take away from this article. I really liked this article. I think it was really cool, but I think that's really important to distinguish is when they say mindfulness, it's the actual being present versus the practicing of mindfulness. What I do like about this article is like if we can practice mindfulness in a controlled environment, then I think we could put it into the game to be more mindful in general. But even in the practice of mindfulness, what is the purpose of why you're doing it? Because I think that's another critique of mindfulness or breathing. It's boring. It's dumb. I have to sit down and just focus on my breath or whatever. Why would I do that? I get it. But it's also like, okay, literally that is your drills in running. That is like practicing form in running. So when you actually start racing, you can rely on that form to make you go faster. It's like learning how to walk before I teach you how to sprint. But people want to sprint, but they don't have the mechanics. But they don't want to do the mechanical practice. So that's how I would kind of break down what mindfulness is in a real world example. Sick. Yeah, I think Dr. Jeeves was looking for a mindfulness thing. So shout out to Dr. Jeeves. I'm doing more, I have to look for more mindfulness stuff to present. Here's the only thing though, dude, like, my Discord got hacked, so unlucky I'm not able to do any Discord things like presentations or voltaic stuff for a little bit because it's been gone for about 2 weeks, and if anyone knows anyone Discord support, they are not supporting at all. So let me know, and hopefully I can get it back soon. But also I'm thinking about when I need to call it just to make the new Discord to, like, I don't know, work and live, you know what I mean, in gaming. Shrugs. But yeah. That's it for me. I gotta go to this, do some clinical work now. So, I'm gonna try to come back on Friday. Same time, same place, 12 p.m. PST. I was a little late today because I was just trying to figure out how to do the stream and everything to set it back up. But I hope that, it worked. At least, for a little bit. Alright, friends. Well, I'll see you guys Friday. Give me a follow on the TikToks or whatever. It's like Sensei. But if not, I'll see you then. All right, friends? Well, take it easy. Be safe out there. And remember, stronger mental wins. Pieces, friends. Bye!